grain livestock market updates. It's been a heck of a week here this week. One of the wildest starts to any month, the wildest couple weeks we've had in a long time, and it's just impossible to predict where these markets are going, what's happening in your world out there. So crazy week, lots happening. It's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. So thanks for joining us again live at 9 here, ATI Pro Media, every day, breaking down your grain and livestock markets. So I'm going to roll through your markets, and then let's roll through some headlines and talk about what's going on. Invite you to leave a comment. Hit us up with what's on your mind here this week. Leave a comment, and we'll roll through your markets here out of the gate. So May corn's up 5 3/4 on Friday here, 488.5. Dees new crop corn up 4.5 at 458 3/4. December corn has broken above the 50-day moving average. Note that. May corn up 5 cents at 10.34. That's May beans up 5 cents at 10.34. Nove beans are up 9.5 at 10.14. Soy oil is 50 points firmer at 47.20. Soy meal is down $1.40 at 302.80. Looking over at your wheat markets, we got May Chicago wheat is up 15 cents at 552 3/4. May KC wheat up 14.5 at 572.5. New crop KC wheat 586. Looking over at your meat markets, we got feeders a little firmer on the front, a little more firmer on the back. The April contract is actually down 22 points at 282.55. May's up 12.5 at 275.475. The index is at 287.29, down 332 yesterday on your feeder cattle index. The live cattle markets, looking at fat market, up 15 points, 201 on April. May is up 7.5 at 195.275. Over at your hog markets, we're tick weaker on the April and firmer on the back months. June hogs at 93.75. Crude oil is up 17 points at 60.24 a barrel. Diesel is up a half a cent at 205.10. Looking at your nat gas is down a penny at 3.54. Your Dow's up 20 points. The S&P up a penny, and the NASDAQ up 3.5. Muted macro market, stock market price action right now. But Bitcoin's up 3,000 at 82,800, and your gold is record highs again, up 67 points, 3,222. Silver's up. The dollar, lowest level in, I think, 3 years on the US dollar index. Bonds are breaking lower as well, all over the place. Macro market, there's a lot going on in your macro markets out here today. So, all right, we'll dive into some headlines here. Out of the gate, flash sale, 121,000 soybeans to unknown destinations. It's good to see these on the books. Also saw a headline from Bloomberg that China has bought, I think, 4 cargoes of beans here this week. Opportunistic buying from China as we got trade negotiations happening. Bloomberg reporting that they bought 4 vessels of beans here this week. So China's some of the best traders in the world, but we got some negotiations happening, and the art of the deal is happening out there. We'll see where this goes in the weeks ahead, but that's definitely causing chaos across all of your macro markets right now. Tit for tat trade war escalation. Beijing increased its tariffs on U.S. imports again, 125% Friday. Is this? You can't even keep up with where we're at. I don't know. Are we at 400%? Are we at infinity plus infinity? Where are we at with these tariffs on each other's countries? But just escalation of the trade war, and I don't know whatever number you want to print. The biggest number wins, I guess. But we'll see where it goes from here. Need to sit down at the table. White House clarified on Thursday that U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports are now at least 145%, not the 125% that Trump had said previously. So it's hard to keep up with the ever-changing numbers that get thrown out there, but the trade war is still on for now. All right. Justin Aeder, special guest yesterday. Justin, thanks for coming on yesterday. Enjoyed having you on. Justin Aeder, again, Bad Axe, Michigan, broker up there with Advanced Trading. Did he call the WASDE report yesterday? I think he did. We talked about a surprise if the USDA printed a carryout below 1.5 billion bushels on corn. And what did we get? 1.465. So, Justin, good job. Kudos to you. And that sent the markets higher. We had a nice little rally on corn yesterday as the USDA came in and adjusted exports on U.S. corn, bumped them 100 million bushels. And yeah, nice little rally on your corn market yesterday. Nice little rally on all the grains yesterday. Feels like we have some pent up bulls that are wanting to see this market moves higher. Next thing here, what's caught my eye? USDA ATI research. They put this out. It's one of my favorite sections that we put out. If you're a premium subscriber, you get this every day. But today's, is the USDA still too low on U.S. corn exports? Quite possibly. I'm going to read you what they wrote here this morning. USDA left China corn imports at 8 million metric tons. October through February period, major exporter shipments to China are less than 700,000, which implies March through September shipments by someone of 6 million metric tons or more. Last year, March through September imports were 5 million metric tons. Much of that came from Ukraine, some of it Brazil, both of which should be down this year for their export total. So that brings to the question, is there upside in U.S. exports, and is China a potential market for some U.S. grain here until we get that safrinha corn crop here coming out of the field in June, July timeframe? Time will tell, but it's good to see that number revised up yesterday, and we'll see if there's any more upside to that U.S. corn export number. Impossible to know. Got to watch that weather in South America. Non-threatening right now. Northern 70% of Brazil safrinha corn crop. Just expected to see near to above normal rainfall over the next 2 weeks. The southern 30% of safrinha corn is facing kind of a drier stretch here. Keep your eyes on the forecast, what's realized for weather and moisture down there in that safrinha corn crop. Big piece to your global supply picture going forward. Also got a U.S. crop that's getting ready to go in the ground. I know planters are rolling. We've had some planters rolling here in Kansas. If you're planting corn, let me know. Drop a note in the comments. We want to know where you're at, if you've started, and if you haven't started, when are you going to start? And are you planting beans first too? That's kind of becoming a common trend around the nation as well, is some beans growing in the ground. I remember we talked about it a couple months ago. There was a guy out there on Twitter. He was planting some beans already in Indiana, in the March timeframe. I wonder if are they blooming yet? Are those soybeans blooming, setting pods yet? Maybe. Probably not. But if you're planting out there, be safe first. Be safe and be careful out there planting, running farm machinery. It's always dangerous. You guys live and breathe it every day, but we want to know when you're rolling. Be safe out there and let us know how it's going as you get started. We'll take a sip of coffee, and then we're going to talk a little bit of cattle market. In your cattle markets, we had cash trade start to develop yesterday. Lower was the tone. The South traded $4 lower at 204. Up in the North, there was some 208 trade. So a little lower sentiment on the cattle trade this week. Remainder of cash trade is called lower as well here for the rest of the week. Choice box beef fell 357 yesterday, printing a 334.29. So we've rolled over on that cutout. We got slaughter pace slowing versus a week ago. Packers they're just unincentivized to kill any more than they have to in this market environment. Kind of just a hand to mouth situation where they're going to fill some orders and they are going to buy what they need to buy. And that may be there may be some points in time where they got to push the bids to get those orders filled and get it moved. But yeah, that's kind of your breakdown of what's going on in the cattle market. Talked about in the open, the feeder cattle index. April feeders are going to settle to the index here next Thursday. That's when they close out last trading day on your April feeders. Currently at 282.725, and the index was at 290, fell 332 on the most recent print to 287.29. Looking out at your deferred prices, May's at 275.35. So, all right, that's kind of a wrap on your cattle stuff. I do want to pull in some dollar charts and look at some things here because that macro market's that's the trade this week. A lot to talk about, a lot going on. Let's see if I can pull this graphic in. Let's Let's look at this. Here we go. We got June dollar index. I'm going to switch over to a weekly continuation chart on this just to throw some graphics at you here this morning. So each bar represents a week's price action. This goes back here. We got 22 time frame right in here, and we've broke below the last fall's lows in that $100 level on the US dollar index. We broke that. We're trading at 99 something currently, 99,495. But that's the lowest level. You got to go clear back to April of 22 to see a lower print on that front when we look at the US dollar index. Now, the US dollar index is a basket of currencies, but it's very heavily weighted on the euro. And I'm going to see if I can switch over and look at the euro specifically versus the US dollar. And here's a weekly chart looking at front month weekly euro versus the dollar. And it takes 114 euro gets you something like that. I get mixed. 87 cents gets you 87 cents of a euro gets you $1. We got to look at it the other way. Get my head flipped around doing the math. I'm a K-State animal science cowboy guy. But 87, if you have 0.87 euros, you get $1. You get $1. There's probably a better way to explain that. But the euro just gaining against the US dollar strong. Looking over the Brazilian real, strengthening a little bit as well against the US dollar. It's interesting to look at these, break these down. Here's the Mexican peso. When you think about Brazilian, Brazil versus US export price and the correlation, not just the dollar index, but the correlation. But most of that dollar index move, bottom line here, is tied to the euro. Some of it is the Japanese yen. The Mexican peso here is kind of quiet. But look at that the Japanese yen versus the US dollar firming, and then the euro versus the US dollar firming as well. Getting way out of my wheelhouse here, but things you need to pay attention to and things that drive your markets. Let's throw up while we're at it. Let's look at that stock market chart here as well. Charts on a Friday. We wrap up. This is again a weekly continuation chart looking at long term. Up, and away, bottom left to top right. Big sell-off here. One of the biggest sell-offs since the 2000. I think there's a headline out there that the S&P, throw that graphic up, Rick. Let's blast that up real quick, too. Dr. Cruz shared this with us yesterday. It was an interesting graphic if we still have it. Biggest reversal in the S&P since the 2008 financial crisis posted this week. So just massive ranges out there. Whipsaw trade, whipsaw headlines. Your Dow's up 37 points here. The S&P up 11, and the NASDAQ up 49. I'm going to pull in. We're looking at the Dow right now on a weekly continuation. Here's the S&P on a weekly continuation. Very similar chart patterns, but big sell-offs across your macros. Nice little bounces here. This week, the last few weeks have been turmoil, though, in your stock markets, but bouncing back, NASDAQ bouncing back a little bit here as well this week. And then here's the old Bitcoin. Look at that one. Fun stuff. One more before I go. And then we'll get to some questions because this one's directly related to you guys. And if you're a farmer out there, no continuation. Dees corn. We got the green bars, 50-day moving average. Dees corn has rallied up back above the 50-day moving average. Check your target orders. Check your working orders out there. We got a little bounce in your corn market. Good to see. I'm going to throw a Fibonacci retracement up there if I can as well. I like looking at those. Let's look at that. Hey, half back from the sell-off, the February to March sell-off from 479, 480 area down to this 436 area. We've recovered half of that. Ties right up here in the 50-day moving average. I like these area. That'd be great for targets, but we'll break that down in a premium content video and get you some specific recs if you're a premium subscriber. Again, thank you all for joining us today. Let's dive over. Look, see if we got some comments out there. Farmer Brett, normally start May 15th, planting some corn. Good stuff. Okay. Good stuff. Grow the farm up. April 20th at the earliest. What if the neighbors go early, grow the farm up? What if they go, does that you can avoid that temptation? It's always difficult when the neighbors rolling out there and you're working on the machinery parked in the drive, waiting to go. But to each their own. Stick with your game plan, and good luck out there. Be safe out there. Got another comment, Luke. Hoping to start corn on Monday or Tuesday, probably 1st of May before any beans. Okay, so pump the brakes here. Hold the horses. Not everybody's rolling yet. We're going to get updated planting progress here next on Monday. We get COT data out this afternoon. I think we got a shortened trade week next week with Good Friday on Friday. So 4 days of trade next week. Weather's going to be increasingly important. Headlines are going to continue to drive your markets. Tremendous amount of headline risk out there. We had Tony Dunker on Tuesday. Go rewatch her episode on Tuesday. Great content out there. Had Justin yesterday. You can go rewatch those episodes on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us every day. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a fantastic weekend, and hope the best to you all this weekend. So catch you on Monday, live 9 o'clock. We'll see you.